I can see there's an image up in place of you rather than your video.
Yes, it's gonna now it's moving through YouTube. So
Yep, it says it's been live streamed.
yeah, it's I can see you, but you can't hear me, which is strange.
Well, the other one, it does say it's muted.
Yeah, no, but I can't see myself, or I have no options to go.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share this afterwards on all the channels just to have it. It's something with YouTube. They keep on changing the settings, so I think I need to go on my main account and check the settings to see if anything has been changed. But you worked fine a few days ago, so I'm not sure exactly why it's causing it. So we're just gonna go straight on. I'm ready if you are.
Yep, all good.
Good. We're still recording. I think we might be still live. So there you go.
It does say live.
Yeah, well, there you go. We're live. Even better, you know,
For sure.
because at the end of the day, people can see that this is real and it's not been, practiced or scripted or in any shape or form. So I'll just make the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending when you're watching and where you're watching from. My name is Cristian and I'm a founder of Lead to Leap, but also I founded a podcast which is called What Gets You Fired Up, for one good reason: to bring people, they can provide value, but also to find out exactly what caused them to go and just provide that value to other people, what fires them up to come out and do all the great things that they do for other people, and be more of a self rather than selfish in a way. And today we have a great person, great lady, which I met through another networking event, which is always good. So I encourage lots of people to join as many as possible. And today we have Lucy Spencer. Lucy Spencer is a business consultant, and she's enhancing business operations, using different systems and looking at the culture of the business, the energy. We're looking into holistic ways of maximizing and creating that growth and the drive within the business. So without any further ado, Lucy, welcome to What Gets You Fired Up.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Been a pleasure, and thank you for your patience. I know we tried to do this before, and I want to know, because it's we both work in the same field and we provide that business consultancy. But I want to know from your point of view, what is so important to get that energy right within a business?
I think that it's the energy at the end of the day that's going to drive that business forward, that's going to ensure that business is successful. And I don't often, when I'm talking to clients, talk about the energy of it, but at the end of the day, that's what's behind everything. Working on the knowledge that everything is energy, every single item in front of us is made up of moving particles, and they're an example of energetic items. So within the workplace, if you are putting in place practices to better support employees, to ensure that it's a happier, environment for them to work in. And that does matter, because if they're happier, they're going to be more engaged,
For
they're
sure.
going to be more motivated. So if you're ensuring that you're kind of building that sort of workplace, building that positive culture, your employees' energy will be raised. They will be responding to how they're treated. They'll be more productive, more innovative in the solutions they produce. It's all round a win-win situation. When your employees are operating at that higher state, in that more energized way, when they're in that more energized state, they're going to naturally help your business's energy to evolve,
Exactly. Yeah.
which is going to be more business success. So it's one of those things. I talk to a lot of people, and it's almost a new concept to them. Although when you know the reality, it's kind of more like common sense. But back in the day, we were taught to, focus on profit, and that was the thing that drove the business. But when you're actually focusing on the people in your business, and you're trying to ensure that it's a supportive, safe environment, an environment where they can thrive and they're more energized, it's actually going to impact your business's profits at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah. And it's funny that you said that, because if you look at the energy and structure in business, people don't really put them together. So tell me, how did you come with this idea of managing to actually realize that the energy and the mentality, actually, if you put it this way, of people, it's way more connected than the structure, and they're coming like energy mindset and then structure. How did you
Yeah,
connect
well,
it together?
it's like I said just now, I don't really, when I'm going into business, talk too often about the energy, because it just doesn't really make sense to people until I explain it, etc. But it's easier for me to go in and talk about the systems, talk about the culture, and get them to see the concrete things that they can visually see, the improvements that will actually take place. Um, my background is as a project manager, so I'm used to being in businesses, being in offices, from starting out in corporate companies through to working with some of the smaller companies in the UK. So I'm very business orientated to a certain degree, but it got to a point in my career where I wanted to start learning more, and it was interesting to learn things that weren't necessarily work related. So I started doing courses in my spare time, like NLP, life coaching,
Yeah,
and I came across somebody who was recommended to me by people that I was going on some of these courses with, who was a practitioner of energy tools. So she was looking at things from a more holistic point of view, and she was helping people to learn tools that were going to help them overcome their blocks using things like colors, numbers, symbols. That's kind of one set
yeah,
of the tools that she provided. So I've kind of merged this two, or merged all my kind of learnings from NLP to a little bit of the coaching, some of the leadership stuff I was learning, which was more directly linked to my project management background, along with the energy tools, to bring a solution into the workplace that's going to modernize it, that's going to really give employees what they want in a business. And that's becoming increasingly important, because they
100%.
understand now that they should be supported in the workplace, and they've gone through a period of time where it was difficult with COVID, lockdowns. They've seen that businesses can step up. So they've understand things can be different, and they want
Yeah.
that going forward.
I
So
think
it's
what I
about
love is, sorry, I think what I love, it's sorry to step in, is just because I like the connection you made from you being a project manager, then adding the NLP, the coaching, the leadership, everything next to it, which is, that's why I like to speak to you, because we see those connections. People tend to have they just specialize in one thing, and they don't get the other things that they are making the whole, like the leadership, the understanding the mind, getting that coaching, which you can speak, like the color coding you mentioned earlier. So it's great that you mentioned all those things, because people don't understand that either if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner or just a person, when you get those things together, that's when you actually get stronger. And I always like to make that analogy, like the rainbow. There are 7 colors. If you mix the 7 colors together, that's why you get the light. And it's the same with us. So it's great. But tell me, what gets you fired up, Lucy? Because it's not, you don't just woke up one day, look, I'm going to be a business consultant or a project manager, and I'm going to bring the energy just because I know you dreamt about it last night. So how did you came that? What drives you to provide this value and just be who you are?
It really seems that it was a natural progression of things for me to do this work, because it was how I moved from my corporate background as a project manager into working with smaller companies, and starting to integrate more of these tools and more of these tools as I went along, to get to the point where I founded Conscious Business Solutions. So it really was it was, I don't want to, it sounds corny to say it, but it kind of was, destiny. It was what I feel like, I'm doing what I was always supposed to be doing. And it's just like you say, um, it's a combination of all of the skills that I've learnt in order to have a positive impact on the people around me. And I think that's really important, and it's something that has, for the past 10 years or so, been increasingly important. It's one of those things, especially in the UK at the time when I started out in the workforce. It really was just to make a bit of cash, and
Yeah.
you enjoyed, your weekends, your evenings, and sometimes it was with your work colleagues. You got to know them. You went to the pub, again, UK culture, but it wasn't really all about the job you did. You could do something that was quite boring and wasn't wholly meaningful, but you did it for a reason. And
Yes.
as I kind of got a little bit older, I saw that I could make more of a difference, and I moved to companies where I felt like the role I had and the purpose of the company was kind of increasing, that they were having more of an impact on their customers. It meant more to me. I felt like I was contributing more. So I kind of did go through that journey. But I think it's really interesting because that was, starting off 20 years ago,
Of course, yeah.
having that culture of not being too worried about what you did and the impact you were going to have. And you look today to the youngsters coming into the workforce, and they've got a completely different attitude. They're almost where I am after 20 years of working. They want to have that impact. They want to kind of be that force for good.
No, I
So
love that.
it's really interesting to see. I've kind of gone on this journey and got to this point where it's really important to me to make the best use of my time and to be able to share the information I have. And yet there's, yeah, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds coming into the workforce that they've already got that desire. They're already fired up to do this, which is great to see.
I love it. I mean, you're my favorite speaker so far, because you come with the right, like you put 3 things that are very important: culture, time, and what gets you fired up, which is the whole purpose of this conversations we have. And the culture, which is something which I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I found it that the culture, not just in the businesses, but in the UK overall, they're not very open to have that business consultant or business mentor or business coach. Uh, why do you think? Because I'm not British, although I have British British citizenship. Why would you say that the Brits are more reluctant to work with a business mentor or a coach or a consultant rather than people, let's say, in America or even in Europe? Why would you say that that's the culture? Because we both know that the culture in the business is extremely important. but we have the entrepreneurs and the business owner being reluctant to even talk about it, and they have that like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Why do you say that's the case? Because I see you nodding, so I'm assuming
Yeah,
you find the same.
100%. It's British culture. It's something about being raised, from our time in schools. We were taught a certain way of behaving, and it's really hard for us to go through the process of disconnecting from all the bad behaviors and wanting to learn to be more open and take on new information and operate in a way that's going to be in the best interest of others. It's kind of like it's been instilled into us. And
Yes,
the only reason I've got to where I am is by years of personal development and courses and coaching and all of that sort of thing. I've been open to change, and I've
excellent.
kind of gone through the journey to get to this point where I see that it's, you're onto a winner if you're going to be more open. It's the way to be.
Yeah,
But yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people, they're just used to being a certain way. Habit, then they're just used to being a little bit reserved about change, and they know what they know, and they believe it works, even though you potentially showing them evidence that not so much
this is
anymore,
better.
especially in the last 3 years or so. There's been a lot of changes. Again, back to that pesky COVID thing, it changed a lot. It made people understand that they can expect something different from the workplace. There is that concept of work-life balance, or work-life blending, as I prefer. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, it's something that you can't force either, because you've got to be open to change. So, and if you've got the British mentality, the traditional British mentality of kind of that stiff upper lip and kind of carrying
Yes.
on regardless, and you're not stopping to actually think about, oh, what are the advantages of doing this though? So,
No, I love it that I'm not the only person who thinks that there is a stiffness in there which needs to
oh
be
yes, I see it.
molded
I feel
and
like I come
molded.
across it every day.
You see, I love it because for more than one reason. Because I'm not the only one who sees that on this in the business consulting and coaching side of it, but it's also I'm not the only one who hasn't stopped despite of all these limitations and old habits that the British society has. And I know me coming. I'm more of a Latino style. I'm more of direct. So even kind of like a hey, leave me alone. What you want from me? It's different from British society, and I know for a fact that for a while I was maybe too fast or too direct, so I had to polish it and to remind myself that look, wherever you go, you have to just speak in a different voice, have a different language. Come across in a different way, because like I said it earlier, you can't force it. If somebody's not
Okay.
willing to listen,
Yep.
then you can speak all day.
And I do believe it will change, because there are going to be more examples of the positive impact of operating as a more conscious business, then having this awareness, and gradually more people will take notice of it. Plus, we got the younger generation coming through, and they're going to, make up a large proportion of the workforce. I heard a stat earlier today, even I can't remember what year it will be, but in the near future, like a third of the workforce is going to be Gen Z.
Yeah,
And like I say, they've got a different attitude to work. They want to have that meaningful work. They want to have the life work balance or blending. They want to see the positives in it, and make that contribution. So if that's if it's going to be that much of a 33% of the workforce
yeah.
saying that this is what they want, managers are going to have to at some point
Listen more.
understand that they are going to have to start adjusting. But it takes time. It's going to take time. Like I say, it's uh, it's not something that naturally comes to us, but we're all evolving, so it's going in the
Yes.
right direction.
That's good. That's good. And we both know that people are, the heart of any business. I mean, it's like you want to say you run a hotel, and it doesn't matter because the clients are coming in. But if you have a hotel with no staff, then that's just an empty building. And the same with any other businesses. But tell me, if it was the same, to give 3 tips to an entrepreneur or a business owner, uh, about the people that he's working with, what will be like 3 key elements that a business owner should take in consideration when will speak with their team or anything like that?
I would say, number one, think about your company's purpose, because that's going to be something that drives your business forwards. It's going to be something that engages and inspires your team. It's going to actually draw customers to you. So it can be a really strong reason. It's a really positive. It can be have a large positive impact on your employees. Trying to get my words out, tumbling all over them. I would also say listen to employees more. And it's amazing. Again, we know a lot of skills because we're taught them from childhood, and active listening is something we just were not taught. It seems crazy now because so many of us understand how important it is, what we can achieve as a result of actually stopping and listening and really being present. So it's a case of practicing that, and it does take practice because, again, as I said, we're not used to it. But actually practice listening to people fully and learning about their concerns and learning about their ideas, so you can both better support your employees, you can more quickly deal with issues, and you can better take advantage of opportunities. So listening is really important, and put in place practices so that your employees can contribute more to who your business is and how it's operating. Which, again, in a traditional business, that's not how things are done. It's the management team, the leadership team, dictating how things are and feeding that information down, the whole top-down approach. But in a modern business, in a conscious business, there's that recognition that employees are valuable. They have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge that they can bring to the table. So the more you include them in, for instance, decisions about products that you're going to produce in the near future, the better it's going to be for your business. And include them in decisions about, for instance, the values that you operate according to, the behaviors you expect to see in the business, because that way employees are going to be on board with the final decision. They're going to agree with what's being put in place, and they're going to feel as if they are more than a number in the business. Then they are a valuable part of the business because you're asking for their opinion, and you're putting in place practices as a result of what they're saying, and that really means a lot to employees.
No, 100%. And it's funny that you mentioned that, the listening and the value and getting the people involved in, which kind of actually goes back to the culture, right? Because all this actually is the business culture. If the culture is or we are the business owners, we are the leader, the managers, and you listen to us, that's where things are going sideways. I mean, it works for a while, but how long you can listen without being able to say what you think. And I was part of a business for 6 years where the whole culture was great. The people were involved, the people that were working, they were involved, they were appreciated, and the business went like this. It just went all over the place, and everybody was happy. Everybody was making money, including the people that were working, and also obviously the business owners. And then the brain, the I wouldn't say the thing that was holding everything together, like the two people that they created the whole business, moved away, and then it became more structured, but in a more of a very abrupt and very rigid way. So it became very corporate. That's what I was looking for. And the minute that corporation get into it and became to the numbers you were mentioning earlier, within a couple of years, the business just collapsed. And I was one of the people that left because I was saying, look, this is not, it's not working. You're
Mm.
going in the wrong direction. And they were like, you don't know what you're talking about. We look at the numbers. I was like, I'm not looking at the numbers because I know why those numbers are not working, because I know that person has problem at home because of this and this and this, and you don't know. You only say, oh, well, let's get rid of this person because they're not producing enough. And I like, that's not how you're supposed to work. That's why we came here, because we understood the people behind it. We value their opinion, we value their lifestyle, and help them to make sure that the lifestyle is it's well connected, and they get what they need. And that's how everybody was pushing the business forward. Now you're dragging these people because they don't feel like they are listened to, they don't feel like they're getting the value back, or they don't practice what they that words, practice what you preach. Oh,
Yeah.
do this, but then we don't do it. So it's great that you mentioned those things, because I've seen businesses doing so well and then just collapsing because they forgot how they end up on being on top. It's how so easy to get to that level, and then, oh, we're doing great, let's change things.
I've
So
had exactly the same experience as you. I've worked in a relatively small company, and I was working with other people within the company to really raise up the culture, and asking people what they wanted, what sort of rewards they wanted to receive,
yeah,
and how we could make it a better workplace at the end of the day, where people would actually come and they would enjoy their time in the office. And the company was taken over by a much larger business, and this other business brought in place, as you say, lots of different structure. We didn't have that freedom to be able to choose how we operated, and how we could develop as a business. Um, and yeah, I ended up leaving as a result of it. And I know they ended up closing that particular office. They kept on a few people who were attached to our company, but our
yes,
company became a product within part of the um,
the whole corporation
the parent company, yeah, rather than a company in its own
in
kind of,
itself. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's strange. It's very strange, because we are. I mean, I look at the positive. I always like to look at the positive. So in a way, I think you're probably going to say the same. We should be thankful for that, because if this didn't happen, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now. So
Oh,
it's like
absolutely.
pushing us in the right direction. Oh, thank you very much for doing all this nonsense, because now I can come back to you and show you what you went wrong, because you wouldn't listen in the first place when you had me in the business. Now you can pay me, I don't know, 5, 10,000, 20,000 to fix what you could have actually could have been fixed then, as me being part of the business. So it's always good. And as I always like to look at the positive in all the things that I get. So
Yeah, there's a learning in everything, definitely. But
100%.
again,
So
that's
speaking,
something that
sorry,
in a
go ahead.
workplace is really a good thing to remember, to help build that positive culture, that it's okay to make mistakes, and having that mindset. But time and time again, I've come across people that really struggle with it, because they've been taught that a mistake is a bad thing and punishment follows it.
Yeah,
Um, and they really struggle to kind of be open about making a mistake. They think, oh no, if we just do this, no one will ever know. And it really takes some time. I've worked in companies where it's taken over a year for someone to gradually relax and understand, no, actually, it's a good thing. We can come together, we can find a solution, we can put in place practices that means that mistake will never happen again. it's it's the best thing to grow, to evolve. But yeah, it
100%.
really takes a while sometimes.
Yes, and you see, you said something about those changes and how people think and how mistakes are seen, or like making taking that chance and making mistake is seen as a bad thing. And I know that bankruptcy, it's something that is been seen really bad in UK culture compared with the US market, for instance. In UK, if you know that you become bankrupt in business, everyone's like, oh, don't touch it, don't work with that person, and everybody's just trying to move to avoid it. And I'm actually this is I haven't shared it with this one with anyone before, is that I lost about 50,000 on business, which I actually closed it down because I was like, I can't go bankrupt on this one because people will know, people will judge me for, because I closed the business as a in a I, because it was not viable anymore. And I became British in a way on that sense. And then and I was like, I can't do that because people know me. And if they're going to see me bankrupt, that how am I going to work with the other people? But then I was like, hold on a second. I remember I went to like about 3 4 times to Miami and New York last year and this year, and I was like, I was talking to people, they were like billionaires, and I asked the question, how many times did you fail? I was like, well, I think I went bankrupt about 10 times, and I've done this and I've done that, but then I found exactly what I was missing, and I focused on that, and now here I am. And I was like, you know something, it's okay to I'm the one who's preaching, don't just go and try it and make the mistakes, but then I'm I can't let one go. So I just decided, you know something, that's it. That business, I tried to revitalize the business, which was connected with the one that I mentioned earlier, and I tried to do it myself. But because all the things that were connected with the other business were still dragging this one, I ended up spending 50,000 from my own money trying to revitalize something which I should have even tried in the first place. I should just park it straight away and start a new one from scratch. But that mentality, that culture,
Yeah.
because we talk so many times about this, it just came back to me, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
And it's interesting because I think people who have run their own business, they're going to understand how hard it can be and how sometimes you just don't have the knowledge at that particular time, or something else isn't quite right, market isn't quite ready for it, what have you,
Yeah,
that means that is going to fail, and that's okay because you can learn from it and go again. And it's more likely to be people that have never run a business before, they've always been an employee, that would think of bankruptcy as being a bad thing. But
yes.
then I guess that kind of it makes sense because they have never taken the risk to go out there and do something for themselves. So they don't quite understand what you could gain from it.
I know the benefits of taking those chances are amazing when you actually, if we actually take a chance at least once a day to something new, we will be so much further than we are right now.
Very true, very true.
But let me ask you a question as we uh, just closing down on our conversation today. I don't want to take too much of your time. Uh, what will be like a good advice that would you give yourself if you were like a young entrepreneur or somebody who's looking to start a business now? And what would you do different from what you did, let's say, 10 years ago?
I think one of the most important things you can, an older version, if you can tell your younger version, is to trust yourself. You get so wrapped up in the self doubt and the imposter syndrome and the got to listen to that person because they're the supposed
Yeah,
expert, that you so often are running around doing things that you don't need to be doing, that aren't actually in your best interest. It's just because you've been told that's what you should be doing. And if
yeah,
you trusted yourself more and you enabled yourself, yes, to learn from others, but to understand what's actually right for your business, and that some of the things they're teaching might not be right for your business, then you can really succeed a lot faster. You can grow your business a lot faster. It's all that imposter syndrome and self doubt that keeps us from trying new things and moving forward.
Yeah, I know, I love it, and my mind goes like, oh, this, and I'm just like, ooh, you just told me something new. Great. You see, you said something about learning and about following the people and do what they do, and I love Jim Rohn a lot because I like to listen to, even he's been dead for so many years, we still learn from his teachings. And he said one thing, and it's always stuck in my head. It was like, don't do what they do. Take what they do and say, take what you need from it, adapt it, be a student, not a follower. I mean, sometimes it's good to follow, but always study, always learn, always adapt, always bring things to you, and always be willing to take that chance to make a mistake. It's okay. We're all humans, right? And I think
Such a wise man.
yes, he was indeed.
Yeah.
The thing is that this is what we miss, is that to try and to learn and to study rather than just follow. We find somebody which was like right there, and with the social media right now, we get so blinded by these flashy things that we don't know that that person took about 10-15 years to get there. We just expect to happen overnight, and then when it didn't happen, we get that imposter syndrome, and we get the self-doubt, and that's where we crumble and fail instead of just trying again and again and again. So listen, it's been a great. I think we can do this for like hours, to be honest. I love talking to you. Every time we jump on a call, I'm like, yeah, I know why I asked Lucy to come over. But Lucy, just before we finish this off, uh, what would you like to tell people that coming to work with you? I know what you bring with you, but I want you to just pass a message to everyone. Why it's important to have you as a person next to them, and also why it's important to have the people at the heart of the business operation, and you say, part of your conscious business solution company that you're running. What would be that thing that would you advise to people?
It's touching on some of the things I've already mentioned earlier. It's the fact that it's the people in your business that to some degree know your business better than you even do, because they're in it doing the day-to-day activities. Sometimes they're also the ones connecting with the customers. They have so much knowledge, so many ideas, that if you just support them, put in place practices to ensure that you're um, really finding out what information that they have that can move your business forward, it's going to be a win-win situation all round. They're going to be happier. They're going to feel like they're being listened to, but it's really going to benefit your business. And I hear so many times people saying that the customer should be the priority. It's the customer that comes first.
Yeah, I
And to
heard that
some
a lot.
degree, I get it. You want to provide a good service, and you really want to over deliver and all those sorts of things, which are good. But actually, if you put that time and energy into your employees first and foremost, they'll then go out and give that level of service to your customer, and it's just a much more healthy way to go about doing things. So yeah, focus on the people in your business every time, and everything else will come into place. And when I work with people, I like to try and make them understand that it doesn't need to be a difficult process, because in essence, I'm helping them really re-engineer what their business looks like, how it operates, which can be a big deal. We're looking through all the different governance practices and strategies in their business, the processes and procedures, across all the things touching on the culture, what's in place for employee well-being and for learning and development and reward. So there's a lot of areas that it touches on, but that doesn't mean it has to be complicated. You can have a really light approach, start putting in place changes, just ensure that um, they all join up, they all um, move you forward towards your company's goals, your company's vision, and that they speak to your company's values, and you're going to be heading on the right direction. And part of being a conscious business, you're continually improving things. So you can put in that first layer of items across the business. And once that's bedded in, you can start on looking at how you could amend some things or add in some new things and just keep evolving and keep moving forward. Keep adding more into your business that's going to allow you to really thrive.
I love that. And I think to sum up in 3 words, I think the people, the entrepreneurs and the business owner, I would say probably more the business owner because they have the employees and the team, is to listen, to practice. Well, no, sorry, listen, to support the team, and practice those things that are coming across, because you'd be surprised how many great ideas are coming from the people coming, they are working in the team, and you don't have to bring somebody, because the ideas are already there.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great. I think we should do another episode soon, because I think we have so many great things that we can talk about. But Lucy, I really want to thank you for coming on today. It's been a great to know more about you and more about what you can bring, and more to understand how things have changed and how they are changing, and why some things are limited to other things. So it's I want to thank you again for joining what gets you fired up, and I'm looking forward to speak to you soon. And I wish you all the best, great success. And like always, when the leader is there, the leadership is there, those quantum leaps are just coming like very quickly, because they are coming based on that listening, that support, and that practicing those things that we know that work best. So thank you again, Lucy, for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it.
Excellent. So did I. Great. Nice to speak to you. Take care.
Bye.
Lovely. I love
We're
it.
still live.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. They can still watch us. But that was great. I will work on that to make sure that everything goes in. And even if you like, people can see that it's still nothing that we haven't spoke
Oh,
or
yeah.
hidden. But I'll share everything with you later on as soon as it's ready. And no, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. It's been really good.
Great.
I will
Speak to you
see you
soon.
soon then.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Great. It was another episode of What Gets You Fired Up. If you really want to get that message across, and you have a great message, if you want to speak to us, just send us a message. Either it's support at cristianvoina.com, or you can find us on YouTube, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Just search for my name, Cristian Voina. It's CRISTIVOINEA, or look for Lit to Leap with the number 2. And